All right. Hello, everyone. Justin Scott, Lowell Ledger here with Lowell Wrestling Coach R.J. Boudro. R.J., the season's been going on for a while, but it feels like now that districts has started and we've gone through the first week that the season's really kind of just kicking off.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely kind of a new season within a season. That just the feeling is different. It's a really exciting time of year. We look forward to the whole season, but this is kind of what we work for. So it's been a nice couple of weeks getting ready, and it's going to be an exciting next few weeks.
So let's start on Wednesday. You guys beat Forest Hill Central in the district final. You
Yep.
rotate in a lot of younger wrestlers. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I think back to my time as a JV football coach under Noel Dean, and when I was part of that kind of run where it was like 2009 to 2015, and I was coaching in that, and we were part of a lot of state finals, so we're playing, you know, 13, 14 games a year, and you got to see the growth in those last like 3 or 4 games where you have younger guys that you're bringing up for the playoff run, and there was just a lot of growth happening for the years to come, right? And I think we can only put 14 guys out on the mat at one time, and when we have 50 guys on a roster, and there's a lot of guys on our team that would be in an argument to be on a varsity spot on another team that maybe on our second team. And so there's a lot going on there. We're trying to get guys competition for the possible years coming up, getting that experience to be on the mat and represent our team. We're trying to reward guys for the work that they put in throughout the year, and maybe their seasons kind of coming to a close because if you weren't entered into districts individually, your season's over. But as a team, we're working together, all 50 guys and our coaching staff, to try to move forward one dual meet at a time. So we're trying to get better all the time, both as coaches, and we're trying to reward some of our guys for the hard work that they put in, and we're also trying to win dual meets too. So if we can do all of that together, that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, 10 of those 14 guys that wrestled on Wednesday night, they weren't guys that featured in districts on Saturdays. And you guys beat Forest Hill Central handily 57-13. A lot of those 10 guys won, and it's not like Forest Hill Central is a bad team. They rolled through Ionia in the district semis. So
yeah, and I think that there's another part there too, is we want to perform as best we can in an individual tournament. And so I think sometimes resting our guys, getting them healthy, or just to peak at the right time is kind of our goal too. So but yeah, I mean, Forest Hill Central in that environment was fun for our guys, and we found it productive, and it's going to be exciting here on Wednesday when we wrestle at Holland, and with some good teams waiting for us.
Lowell has won 30 straight district championships. Most of them have been relatively easy. Have you or the team taken in just kind of what an insane run that is?
We're definitely feel grateful to be a part of it. I'll say that, but it's not really something that you really think about. It's difficult to do this year in and year out, but like just to be in the moment, and it's good to look back and to see the history and everything like that, but at the same time, it doesn't have a lot to do with what we're trying to do right now, and so I think when the season's over, you can reflect on those types of things, and I think for the media and for our community, there's a lot to be proud of, but right now it's hard for us to really reflect on and understand how insane that is. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to be a part of. We're just grateful. Like, we know that where we're at today is a result of all the things that have happened over the past 3 decades. And it's been growing, and our goal is to try to continue that. We don't want to stop that. We want to continue to grow a little bit each and every day. So if anything, it's just looking at like, hey, we got more work to do, but we're also grateful for the people before us and what they built.
Tell me about the team regional that's coming up here this week. Hamilton in the regional finals is a possibility. They're ranked 7th in the state right now. Just kind of walk us through like a little scouting report on those squads that we're going to see.
Yeah, sure. We're going to see Wayland first. So Wayland Union, they have a good team. They have, I think they've had some success in their district. And so this is probably not their first regional. I don't know exactly the stats on that, but Wayland's going to be a good team, and they're going to have some good individual matches. They're 50 pounders, one of the top. I think he's number one kid in the state. So we got a taste of him, and he's a really good wrestler, and they have some good guys to surround him with. So we lost to some Wayland kids at the individual district, and we're just going to try to take in each individual match within there and see if we can just wrestle the best we can. And yeah, if we beat them, and most likely it will be Hamilton. Holland is a good team too. They had a good individual district. So, and they have good guys up and down their lineup. But if it goes as it's written up, we'll wrestle Hamilton, and that's going to be a really good duel. I think we felt pretty good at how we wrestled against Hamilton at the individual district. We feel good about the matchups, and maybe us getting 12 out, and I'm not exactly sure how many they got out in each individual. It's been hard because we just finished up and we hosted, so it's I really want to dig into all of that and getting our scout going, and I've looked at it a little bit, trying to get our lineup ready and stuff like that. So we just finished that up yesterday. But they were at the Gary Rivers tournament, which was at January 20th, so a few weeks ago, and they took 5th place. We won the tournament, and I think comparables, I feel pretty good about our chances of making it to team state, but certainly have a really good team. They have a really good young coach, Trenton Holyfield, who's doing a really good job. And they have a little bit of youth, and they have some veterans on their team, and it's a good program moving forward. So we're definitely preparing for that. We're not going to take Wayland or Hamilton lightly if we have the opportunity to wrestle them.
Before I move on to the individual portion, I just want to talk about something that happened on the other side of the state this week. Number 3, Bay City John Glenn, who coached by former Lowell coach Matt Bishop, they had to take on the number 2 team in the state, Freeland, in the district final. We've seen some things like that happen in the past. I remember, I think it was 2008, Lowell had to wrestle Greenville in the regionals, and they were 2 of the best teams in the state. And I know Lowell won that, and after the match, former Lowell coach Dave Dean came up to the mic and was like, "Hey, you guys deserve to be in the team state final just as much as us." Is there a problem with team wrestling seating right now?
I mean, I wouldn't say right now, because it's been that way for a while. I think the goal should be to get the best teams to the finals. That's why you have seating. But there's a lot of coaches that argue that there shouldn't be any seating, and it creates more excitement. So I just think it's a debate that goes back and forth. But if you look at other sports, you look at football, there's not seating. It's based on regional, so there's some of the best teams wrestling in districts based on geographics, who's next to each other and how to get past to the next round. And it's unfortunate when the best teams in the state are in the same county, and they're going to wrestle each other. But I just think it doesn't always happen each and every year. It changes kind of throughout. I know, like, for instance, Greenville, back then when we wrestled them in regionals, even lately, they've had a top 10 team, and we wrestled them in the regional final last year, and they weren't able to make it to state, and they had a team that was, worthy of making it to the state tournament. It's just, it doesn't always work out that way. So I don't know that it's a problem. I know that if we were wrestling the number 2 team in the state in our district, I don't think I'd like that. I'd rather wrestle them in the state finals. I'm just, being a part of the Michigan Wrestling Association and some of the leadership team there for the past 5 or 6 years, and working with the MHSA and getting to see kind of what goes into it, and the difficulties of seeding things. Like, I think you could have saw that Freeland was going to be a top team, and basically John Glenn was going to be a top team preseason. But how do you predict that all the time? Because there's so many things that happen. If you go with the preseason rankings, which is just done by media guys like you, that are kind of projecting those types of things. So there's just so much things that go into it. And because a lot of the stuff that they do to set up the tournaments has to be done so far ahead of time, because of travel and things like that. So when you do it by a geographic, it just ends up being that way. And they're giving your assignments in October, in maybe late October. And so that gives you time to plan. And so I think, Coach Bishop, who's one of the best coaches in the state, when he got the seeded pairings, he started preparing for Freeland, and Freeland probably the same thing for Bay City John Glenn, and it gave them time to kind of prepare for that. But, again, it would have been nice to see those guys both make the state tournament. And I don't know that I have the answer for that. So being a part of the team that kind of dealt with some of that, it's a lot of people had ideas, but when they had the idea, they're like, yeah, let's get the best teams to state, let's do that. And then you start really digging in on how to do it. And it's not as easy as people make it sound. So I don't know how I feel about it. All I know is that with the rules the way they are right now, I use those to prepare as best I can my team and my program.
It was an exciting duel. I know Freeland won 31-27. We could see Freeland down the line. They just moved up from Division III, so they're not a team that we're used to seeing at the state.
Exactly. And then there you go too. Like the historic, like I will remember the Greenville Lowell duels for the rest of my life. The how loud that gym was in 2009. And they had, I don't know if people remember this, but they had filled up the Performing Arts Center at Greenville because of the overflow, and they casted it on the screen. And we had some people that came from college coaches that came to watch, and they just said that's the craziest high school duel I've ever seen. And I might as well not even have been there to coach, because the kids couldn't hear anything I was saying. So it's like those things. It's like, yeah, that stunk that it was there, but I don't know that the environment would have been the same if it was at Kellogg Arena or in Kalamazoo right now. It was crazy because it was in somebody's home gym.
No, it was cool. I remember I think it was in like 8th grade or something. I remember going with my dad, and it was really exciting just to be in that atmosphere. All right, let's move on to the individual portion of the postseason. So I know the goal is always, hey, you want to get 14 of 14 wrestlers out of the district, out of the regional. It's just to even like think about that goal is incredible, because very few other teams in the state are even getting close to those numbers. You guys got 12 out. What was the feeling coming out of Saturday?
We felt good about our performance. I think anytime somebody doesn't qualify and doesn't reach their goals, you're going to be disappointed, and I think the expectation is that we get 14 out. And I just, I didn't feel like I was disappointed for the individuals that didn't get out, but it really didn't rattle me. And I know that those kids are probably hurting a little bit, but I still feel really good about our program. I feel really good about our team. I feel really good about everybody who pitched in to make that tournament run really well. And there's a lot to be proud of. We had 12 guys in the finals, which has got to be, one of the most we've ever had. I don't keep track of stuff like that at all. I know we've had 14 go to regionals. And it's probably the last few years it's been that. I can't tell you if it's been 13 or 14 or whatever it's been, but it's just not something that we think about. We just try to win every individual match. But I think the 12 in the finals, we had 5 champs, which is not as, good of a number I know as we've had, but still a great number. And we wrestled really hard on that. I think one of the proudest I am of the matches is the match we lost, so like I had a kid wrestle really, really hard, and I think he's made some improvements on his wrestling game, but he lost the match. But I sit here this morning thinking about how proud I was of that wrestler. So I feel good about our performance. I feel good about us moving forward and getting ready for Wednesday, and then Saturday over in Allendale is where the individual regional is going to be, and I think we're in a good spot.
I will
say this too. I think that was probably the toughest individual district we've had in a decade. Mm-hmm. It was a very good individual district when you look at that. We're a program that's won 10 straight team titles, and we had 5 guys in the finals last year at the state tournament. We only had 4 number 1 seeds at the individual district. So coming in with some highly ranked guys in the state, we have a lot of firepower up and down our lineup. to only have 4 number 1 seeds was like, this is a district that's really tough.
No, there were some very good teams there, and even like teams that maybe aren't having success at the team level as high as they'd want. They had some very good individuals in that district. So you're right. That was it was definitely a loaded individual district. I went over the district lineup. Only 14 kids can wrestle, and so for Lowell, you have more than 14 kids ranked, and it means every year that you guys as a coaching staff have some really tough decisions to make. And I felt like this year was, as tough as ever, especially since you guys are pretty loaded in the lower weights. Can you go through that process as how some of those guys made it against the others and how some of those weight classes that we see with two pretty highly ranked kids, there's 2 of them, how that kind of came about?
Yeah, it's not something we look forward to. It's I look forward to the postseason. I just don't look forward to telling a kid that, hey, you're not going to wrestle in the postseason. Not because you haven't deserved it or you haven't earned it or you don't deserve it, just because we don't have the room, or the MHSA who doesn't let us enter more kids. We have more than 14 kids ranked in the state. And I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it. I'll tell you that. That's why we had 3 weekends where we had 3 varsity teams going out and trying to get our guys as many competitions as they possibly can. I know on January 13th, that weekend that we had that snowstorm, that killed us. Like, we had a big weekend planned and that all got canceled. So that was tough. And I just think that didn't make our decision-making process easier, because we're always trying to get looks at different guys and get guys experience and stuff. So, but I was confident in the 14 that we chose. Super sad for some guys that couldn't go. Very sad. Like, really tough conversations that had to be had. And it's our whole coaching staff weighs in on it. I weigh in with our leadership of our team, and I think about everything, and I haven't slept well because of it. But at the same time, it's just high school wrestling, but it's so much more than that too. So it's just hard to explain to somebody, but I do come away with a feeling of gratitude that we get to be in that position. We get to be in a position where we have so many kids willing to sacrifice so much time for a sport, with the chance of not being able to wrestle. And there's been plenty of success stories of guys that didn't wrestle in the district and went on to do good things in wrestling afterwards. And probably none bigger than Max Bishop, who never got a chance to wrestle in the individual districts, which means he never got a chance to win an individual state championship. But he was a good heavyweight for us. And he went on to go wrestle in college. And 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, he was the number 1 seed at the NCAA tournament in Division III. So it doesn't mean that your wrestling career is over if you never got that chance. I think guys like them can really be used as an example. But at the same time, I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling. So not something we look forward to.
So of the 12 wrestlers that are kind of coming out of the district, whose journey this season has impressed you the most?
That's really tough to say. I mean,
so
honestly,
many kids you can pick.
It's, if I was going to highlight some guys, I would really just want to highlight our B team and our JV guys in our program, and I know that's kind of skirting around the question. But yesterday at the individual district tournament, I got to see the guys working the tables, our B team guys that didn't get to go wrestle in the individual tournament. So it's hey, you're not going to wrestle in this tournament, but we need you to come work it. And that's a humbling thing to do, but they don't even flinch on that stuff. And they're such good teammates. And I don't know. I don't know what it looks like from the stands, but when we have guys wrestling, our team is surrounding those guys and they're into those matches. And so it's fun to watch. But I think Jarrett Smith and Jackson Bloom, sometimes Owen Sigorski, these guys have won state championships or close to it. Jarrett Smith hasn't won one, but he's one of the top ranked guys in the country. So they get overlooked a lot, because they're just they get a lot of recognition, I guess, on their own just because they're so good. But they've done a really good job with leadership on the team and kind of bringing guys together. But honestly, I think people don't understand the ups and downs of the sport and how tough it can be. And the schedule that we wrestle is really humbling. We don't have anybody undefeated on our team. Everybody's got losses, and we have some really, really good wrestlers on our team. But like Carter Hockey to me stands out just because I'm just really excited with the trajectory that he's on. He's been in the state finals twice, but I just think he's been improving in the right ways. And his match yesterday in the finals was the one I was talking about, where I was really happy with how he wrestled, and he lost. But I know that's just the district tournament, and our goal isn't to win a district title. Our goal is more than that. So it's just grateful that Malachi Kapenga, the guy he wrestled in the finals, is at our district to give us that opportunity. And he's a really good wrestler and a really good kid. So it's been a lot of fun. And I just think, Carter Chahaki's, I think he was 18-8 going into the district tournament. So nothing crazy record, right? Like he's not an undefeated wrestler, but man, he's had some ups and downs, and really I'm just happy with how he's improved kind of going forward.
Right. You look at some of these records that your wrestlers have, and it's like, oh, they're 18-8, or they're 21-10, but then they're ranked, third, second in the state. That's just how tough of a schedule you guys wrestled. And that match you mentioned, yeah, it was the state finals rematch from last year. I was looking forward to it. It was a really good match, and Carter wrestled really well. Just a late reversal at the end kind of decided that. But no, it was really exciting. Another big match yesterday. I think it's probably got the biggest, roar out of the Lowell crowd. Seth Harvey's semifinal. Tell me about that match a little bit.
Yeah, I just think that's our team getting behind each other. They know that Seth is a late bloomer, I guess you could call it. Like wrestling hasn't been like his favorite thing to do. But recently, this season, he's really turned it on. And dedicated himself. I think our guys can see how he's been practicing and kind of getting into just the hard work that goes into wrestling. And so when our wrestlers can see that, and they know how like much potential he has, and never been in a situation like this, they were excited for him. And he got into a good match and scored late. I think there was maybe 5-10 seconds left in the match, and he got a takedown to win it. Just super exciting, and he's in a good spot. I mean, and he goes to the finals and he gets into a weird scramble and gets pinned, but there's more there. Like I think he's had potential to win a district title. So he's got a really tough weight class though, so he's gonna have some work to do, but I think he's up for it, man. I think the guys are excited because Seth's a good kid. He's really smart. He gets good grades, works really hard, and they're just excited because they know how hard he works.
I'm excited. Next 3 weeks, best 3 weeks of the year. Anything else you want to highlight before we head off? We'll chat next week, I'm sure.
No, I just think I remember, I'll never forget last year at the state tournament with just how our crowd turned out, and I'm just hoping that we can get something similar to that. And I forgot, I want to talk about Casey Engel, just because I think he gets overlooked a little bit, but he kind of pinned his way through the tournament, pinned his guy in the finals at a district champion, and he hasn't gotten this opportunity yet. This is his first opportunity to wrestle individually, and so I just excited for him. His trajectory's been great. Guys have really rallied around him as well, and he's just becoming a leader within our program. And that kid's he's a good athlete. He's a good football player and a good wrestler, and I think he's been working really hard. And he's had some really good wins lately. So I'm also excited about Casey Engel, but excited about the whole group. So I just appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. And
I appreciate your time as well, R.J. So, all right, well, thank you, and we'll be chatting again soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.